Wow, you drank one of the Bud Light Limes?
Yeah, I wanted one.
Just save those for me. It's in my contract.
Sorry.
Pour it in here.
I just, all right.
So Tara, you had a big landmark moment in your life.
I did.
In your career, really.
In your
Yes.
career, yeah.
I beat FTL on hard.
Yeah, really not just your career, but your whole family. You were the first person in your family to beat FTL on hard. That's a big accomplishment.
I'm the first person I know to beat it on
Yeah,
hard.
actually,
Yeah,
me too.
I
I don't know anyone.
else.
I don't know anybody else who's really beaten it on easy, except for like random people on Twitter who tell me about it. It's requires so much dedication, but you know what? I'm super into strategy games. I haven't played a lot of the ones that are really popular out there, but like I find something I like and I just go into it 100%, and I become like a crazy person.
It's one
about
of
it.
those genres that when it hits you just right, that becomes your whole life for a few months. You know?
Exactly. I like simple but detailed and involved strategy
Totally.
games, if
I mean,
that makes sense.
XCOM was great for
Yeah.
that, and for me, Fire Emblem Awakening, once I like let myself get into that, that was another one of
Yeah.
those games I just sunk way into. So do you consider yourself a strategy game person? Is that one of your go-to genres, I guess?
I mean, like stuff like Civilization, I'm not super into, which I feel like automatically disqualifies me from being like a strategy
Yeah, that's really
game.
surprising, actually.
It's too much for
Yeah.
me. It's
Yeah.
too much. I know if I actually dedicated the time
Right.
and really tried to get into it, I would probably enjoy it. But like, I like the more casual aspect of FTL, being able to play for 45 minutes and then put it down and do something else.
Maybe-
Not that I do that. I play it for several hours straight, but
What's that that Civilization game they put out on the Xbox that was like kind of a side
yeah.
entry in the series?
Yeah, I don't remember what it was called. I never played it.
Civilization Revolution, that's what it was called. They just put out Civ Rev 2 on the iPad, so maybe now that you've mastered FTL, that could be your gateway.
there's something specific about FTL I like a lot, and I think it's the space aspect. I'm super into space sims. And
What's Civilization Beyond Earth then?
Oh,
that
man.
actually does appeal to me more than any of the previous
I feel like a
Civilization
Civ
games.
car
so
salesman now.
good.
I'm like, we are going to get you in
Yeah.
a Civ game by the end of this Casual Friday. Guarantee
Hey,
it.
I'm always open to try it out.
So, do you have like a genre that you consider your thing, like your go-to genre?
Not really a genre. I mean, I've really always been into like MOBAs in that, and I guess
Define always. Do you mean since Dota was a Warcraft
since
mod?
the original, yeah, since the original like
I didn't know
Dota.
that about you.
Yeah, I was playing it. I think I started playing at 2.75B. Was the Dota I was playing when I first started getting into it.
My favorite.
Yeah,
2.75B. They don't make them.
pretty old, but it's not original. Is basically the point.
Back when Teemo was jungling
Okay.
mid.
All right.
That's just. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to make people mad.
Yeah,
at this
I don't
point.
know. So I mean, it just for me that game hits a sweet spot of like I loved Diablo 2. I just loved, which is like completely unrelated in some ways, but I just
Civic-
loved the like character like building.
hero game, yeah.
Hero game, yeah. You know, when I first started playing Dota in Warcraft 3. I just liked the idea of not having to micromanage a whole army.
Yeah.
Just having one guy.
Wouldn't this game be
limited
better if there
items.
was one dude in it?
Yeah, exactly. And it was just cool, like having this one like hero person I was like playing as. I think originally it started as I was into like almost the role play element of like I was like it's my team versus their team, and I'm gonna like go kill the bad guys.
Huh.
And it wasn't competitive at first, and then it escalated and became competitive, and then the fact that the game was limited to allowing you to only have 6 items became like a really fascinating like strategic thing that you had to work around. Like, okay, what items do I actually want to have that's going to make me the best, like beat the other team?
I mean,
So it
clearly
like grew from there.
that format clearly appeals to a ton of people. Like the International just wrapped up
Yeah.
earlier this week, and it's just like, all right, clearly
Yeah.
they were onto something with the original Dota mod.
Yeah.
And it's so repetitive, like it's the same thing every time. And I mean, I love shooters. I loved Halo. Played a crap ton of Halo when I was younger. But I know I'll always be able to go back to a MOBA and
Wow.
always play it, and I'll always have a great time
I mean,
with it.
that answers a question that I've kind of had, which is, and maybe this is a topic for another discussion, but I wonder how long the MOBA esports revolution will last. I mean, in some ways it seems very new and very recent, and I think there's a temptation from some of the more cynical people to say that it's a fad, but
Sure.
like people forget that Dota's existed for a minute in
It's-
some form.
Yeah, no, it's been around for a while. I mean, I feel like what's changed is the accessibility. Like now it's a free standalone game, and it's easier to get into than ever before. I feel like it's on this like, it's riding a wave right now that I think it will eventually see some decline, but and it may be due to another game like coming into the esports scene being really like popular.
It's
but
funny because
it's always going to be really successful, I think.
As someone who loves Dota, this must be a very exciting time for you. For me, my genre that I still consider to this day my main genre is rhythm and music games.
Yeah.
And we're on the tail end of a big wave of that. Do you remember when like Rock Band and Guitar Hero were the biggest thing ever?
That was
and
the
it became
game.
Activision hundreds of millions of dollars and like that's over. I guess.
There was a restaurant across from like the college I went to that had a rock band night.
Yeah.
And you would sign up, and there was
Really?
like they held tournaments and stuff. It was amazing.
See, for me that was just my dorm room in college. But like even going back before that, like it wasn't even the Western rhythm games. It wasn't even the Rock Bands and the Guitar Heroes, although I loved those. For me, the ones that really resonated with me were.
I bet you liked Rhythm Heaven Fever.
Rhythm Heaven is the greatest video game franchise, or at least one of the top 5.
You should talk to Jonathan Holmes.
Yeah?
You
Oh
two
my
would
God.
have a lot to talk about.
Dude, Rhythm Heaven Fever was like
He was
my game
obsessed
of the
with
year
it,
that
yeah.
year. So good. And then the GBA version that never came out here is amazing, and the DS one's amazing. But those are kind of like non-traditional, weird WarioWare-ass rhythm games. The ones that are really meaningful to me was like, I remember discovering DDR in an arcade when I was 13. And you know how like when you go to the arcade and you see those assholes who are like way too good at it and have no that's me. I'm one of those guys.
Wow.
It's like riding a bike. Like once you do that, I did that when I was a teen, but you do that today?
I never played DDR because of you.
Yeah? Too
Yeah, because
intimidating?
I would go to like an arcade and I'd see you playing it, and I'd be like, God, I really want to try it, but if he sees me, he's gonna make fun of me,
No,
and I'm gonna look like a complete
Trust, it was the
idiot.
reverse. Like, as someone, when you're good at DDR, you get made fun of in arcades. Because randos who walk into arcades will just like hop on the pad next to you and just like mock you. You kind of can't win because it's such an inherently embarrassing thing. But
It's
even
so funny because
also
I
feel
actually
like-
was always impressed by people.
yeah,
I was always like, God
I
damn,
remember
that's amazing.
being 15 years old at the beach in North Carolina with a friend of mine, like a childhood friend of mine who was there at the same time. And I was playing DDR at the pier in North Carolina at the beach, and he set out like a cup, like a tip jar, and we actually got like some quarters, and we were able to play some games. Sorry, what were you gonna say?
I don't even. Oh, I was gonna say I feel like DDR is an all-inclusive type of game where like nobody's gonna make fun of somebody else because everyone doing it just looks ridiculous.
Yeah,
true.
no one who's playing will make fun of someone else who's playing. That's
Yeah,
for sure.
it's a fun. Like my roommate in college had one of the pads that you lay out, which admittedly is like nowhere near as good as
hard or soft?
The soft one, which sucks. But I have actually always enjoyed DDR a lot. I feel like the three of us have very opposite viewpoints. You're like the bro-y esports. You're like the Japanese weeaboo.
Right,
and
sure.
I'm like the nerd off in the corner.
Playing
like,
strategy games? That's a good
strategy
cross-section.
games,
I'm proud of us.
And then we all kind of like shooters a little bit. So there's a
little
little bro
bit.
in all of us.
That's true. There's a little bro in all of us.
That's, yeah.
I feel like
Call
you're
of
gonna make
Duty.
that sexual.
What I said hard or soft, and you let that slide. So I feel like we're just gonna have to
Damn
mutually
it.
agree to not
slipping.
double. Let's not double entendre each
slipping.
other. Is Nintendo loosening their requirements about 3DS games using the 3D effect? I mean, it would kind of make sense, right? Last year, Nintendo released the 2DS, which is a system that has no 3D whatsoever, and then Pokemon X and Y, their biggest game of 2013, only had partial 3D support in the battles and none in the overworlds. Also, on top of that, it feels like the general public just doesn't give a shit about 3D.
Don't look it up. Don't look it up.
It's okay, no one will know. No one will know. Please cut this. Please don't show this in the video, or I will cry.
Please show this.
Civilization.
Make this the cold open somewhere.
iPad.
Whoever's editing.
No.
Cisco. Max
Revolution. Civilization Revolution, that's what it was called.